Welcome to Infinicast. I'm Mike Billings, president of Infinity Rehab, and today I'm really lucky to have with me Stacey Turner, speech-language pathologist and regional vice president of operations for Infinity Rehab. So Stacey, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm glad you joined me today. I thought it'd be fun for us to sit down and talk a little bit, being that May is National Better Speech and Hearing Month. So I thought I could ask you a few questions and we could talk about your experiences and your career experiences and some other interesting things. Does that sound all right?
Oh, it's great.
Good, good. Well, let's just start off by maybe telling me a little bit about your career path. You and I have worked together for a very long time, and then you've had a lot of interesting experiences throughout your career. So I thought it'd be interesting just to kind of hear, how did you get to where you're at today?
Yeah, well, at a very young age, I knew my journey would involve helping others, and I just didn't know what capacity that would be. But around my junior year in college, I ended up meeting someone named Jenny, and Jenny was a speech path working in the hospital, and I observed her many times working with a young 14-year-old brain injury patient who was actually struck by lightning. And I was just moved and intrigued and knew at that point that's exactly what I wanted to do for my future, for my career.
Yeah, boy, that must have had an impact on you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how did you stay working in the hospital setting, or is that kind of where you started your career then?
Yeah, I graduated with my master's degree, and then I ended up working in a small brain injury unit in the hospital back home in St. Louis. And we, at that point, I just loved working. The thing that I loved most about that environment was, of course, working with the patients and having an impact in their life. But the team there was so interdisciplinary, and we had a neurologist on staff, and we worked with respiratory therapists and music therapists, and it was just such a collaborative team environment, and it just, that patient-centered approach really helped us get great outcomes with our patients.
No, I bet.
It was fun. Yeah.
I bet. What a neat environment. Now, when I first met you, before we actually started working together, you were working with older adults and in skilled nursing. How did you make that transition?
That's an interesting story. I got a call from a friend who worked actually across the street at a skilled nursing facility, and I was loving what I was doing. And she's like, "Oh, we really need some help. You should try this out." And so I came on PRN and got into the setting and started working. I was like, oh my gosh, it was so different. And I ended up just falling in love with working with geriatric patients, and it was just their individual stories, and I saw so many opportunities at that point and had so many ideas and really wanted to cultivate those ideas and make some changes. So I just got excited about the opportunity, and at that point I was approached with a management position, and that's what I decided to do, and I haven't really looked back since, and that was about 20 years ago. So,
wow. Was it difficult making that transition from clinician to more manager?
It was challenging, but and I always did like 50% patient care and 50% management. So I still but once I transitioned fully into management, it was I loved it because I felt like I had the ability to impact the bigger picture and systems and clinical decisions. I had influence on it, and that's what I really enjoyed.
Huh. Now, I've had the fortunate opportunity and position to watch you grow as a leader and as a manager, and I'd be kind of curious to know your opinion as far as a speech-language pathologist, what qualities maybe do speech-language pathologists have that maybe lend themselves to being a good leader? Yeah,
well, I believe that most effective leaders have a high degree of emotional intelligence, and speech-language pathologists, I think, make great leaders because they possess just a strong desire to achieve, and they're very compassionate and empathetic, and have the ability to affect and lead change.
Yeah, I read a lot about emotional intelligence right now. Is that kind of how you just described it? Is that a good definition of emotional intelligence, or?
Yeah, I think Well, I think, the definition of emotional intelligence would be, self-awareness and self-motivation and just the ability to kind of look at yourself and modify as needed. So
Stacey, you and I have had a lot of conversations recently about healthcare reform and all of the different strategies that the Infinity is undertaking right now to prepare for that. I'd be kind of curious to get your opinion on what advantage you see speech-language pathology and the services that you provide. Where do those fit in healthcare reform, and again, what advantage do SLPs have in the new healthcare reform era?
Healthcare is transitioning to be focused more on value, and speech-language pathologists are equipped to focus on I think their bigger vision is focusing on quality of life for our patients, and they're focused on outcomes and the bigger picture.
Yeah, I would agree. I've not a speech-language pathologist, but I've observed a lot of treatments, and I would completely agree with you that their focus on quality of life will really lend itself to that value-based environment. So, any final comments or that you'd like to say?
Oh, yes, I would. I just would like to tell all the speech paths out there that I appreciate and thank you for the work that you do every day. It's you impact lives, and it's important and creates value for Infinity Rehab. So thank you.
And I completely echo that sentiment. Thank you for joining me in this latest edition of Infinicast, and I look forward to talking to you next month.